Hello and welcome to Unfudge Your Marketing. I am your host. I'm Kristi Mitchell. I'm a marketing strategist, and I love working with mission-driven, client-centered service providers who have relied on referrals and word of mouth to build their business. And they know in order to take their business to the next level and have a greater impact, they need to finally think more strategically about their marketing. On Unfudge Your Marketing, I love to bring on business owners and leaders to talk about their past experiences with marketing that maybe didn't go quite as planned. I am so incredibly grateful for all of the business owners who come on the show and share their personal stories so that we can tease out those lessons learned for all of you. Today, I'm really excited to welcome Ely Delaney to the show. Ely is your automated systems strategist and is also known as the People Whisperer. He's the creator of the Follow Up Rockstar system, teaching entrepreneurs how to go from surviving to thriving in any economy through the art and science of building strong relationships and following up for life. He's an Amazon bestseller with his 2 books, Marketing Tidbits and Networking Tidbits. With that, I will welcome Ely to the show.
All right. Thanks for having me come hang out today.
I am so excited for this conversation, and I always like to share how I met my guests. So John Gehring gets a shout out today. He's my go-to podcast guy. John
cool
introduced
dude.
us. He is. He's a cool dude. He's so genuine. He's so good at what he does. And I absolutely love it when he makes intros like this to me because I feel like you and I definitely found some alignment on our first call, and I was like, absolutely, I need to bring you on the show. So I'm really excited for this conversation today.
Well, thank you. It's my pleasure to be here.
So the story that you had shared with me as we talked about prepping for this, right? I say we have to laugh, otherwise we would cry, right?
Yeah.
The story that you wanted to talk about today on the show was one that I think a lot of business owners can resonate with in different ways. So you had shared that it was kind of like early on in your business, I think, right? You had been kind of encouraged to do some speaking opportunities. And when that happened, you were being given some advice that didn't feel authentic to you. So I don't want to tell your story. You know your story better than I do. Where would you like to kick off this conversation today?
Sure. Yeah. So when I got into speaking, so that was like 2008. I had my first business, which was a web and graphic design agency, and I was migrating away from that because I started that in 95. I grew it from my office or by my dining room by myself to an office. I had 5 employees. I'm closing 3 to contracts a week. I'm killing it, having a blast, except I wasn't having a blast. Didn't really care for going to an office, and I really didn't care for my employees either. So I burnt the whole thing down and started over. And when I did that,
They got
fell
out before you burned it down, right?
Oh, did they? I don't know. Oh no, I'm just joking. No, I kicked them out first. They weren't happy about that part. Had they known, but anyway, so I could just go down all kinds of rabbit holes on that one.
Sorry, I
But
totally got you off track.
Totally have some fun with that one. But I gotten into the starting to speak and teach some classes, and it started out with just some basic stuff, teaching people how to edit their own websites. But I was burned out on the fact I didn't really want to build websites anymore. I saw that the web design industry was getting to like everybody and their dog knew how to build websites. And I was like, this is not what I want to do anymore. And so I started teaching marketing and teaching small business owners how to do all the basic stuff that they really should have been taught when they went to school that they never were taught. And I fell in love with the teaching side. So I started doing this, and I had some really good results fairly fast. But this one time, I'm in a big 3-day event, and there's probably 300 people in the room, something like that. And this particular organization puts these events on all over the country. They do all kinds of stuff in leadership and mindset. And then speaking was one of the things that they did. And they had this program on becoming a speaker. And I wanted to, this program was like, this is the perfect thing to help me get better at what I do, because I love this. And it was like an $8,000 course to do. And
decent investment.
A decent investment. Well, I'm at this 3-day event, which is kind of like their teaser event. And they were doing raffles. And the raffles were basically, if you call out the number, you have to have your ticket. You got to run up to stage and you get whatever the thing is. Well, they happen to be giving away that particular course that I wanted, that program. And it was like, you spend a week at one of their resort kind of places going through this training course on
Mm.
becoming a better public speaker. And I happened to have the ticket. So it's like, out of everything they could have
Ah,
said, this was like, this is awesome. Now,
yeah.
here's the problem though, is I go up to the stage and the trainer for the day looks at me and goes, "You didn't seem excited about coming up here." And what he was looking for was, remember The Price is Right? Where it's like
Yes.
they call it the number and
Screaming,
everybody's
running
yelling and screaming
down,
down the
arms in
aisles and
the
all this stuff.
air. Yes.
Yeah. Well, I didn't do that. Now, anybody who knows me, that's not my personality. I don't do that. I mean, it's just not. And I was as excited as I was going to be from a showing the physical version of that. And he didn't think it was enough. And publicly on stage in front of 300 people goes, "This isn't enough. You obviously don't want it. We're going to give it to somebody else." And I mean, this was the thing I really wanted. Like, I really,
Oh
like,
my
this is like,
God.
at that point, I seriously thought that it was a pinnacle piece that was going to help take me to the next level with my speaking. And I was crushed. I mean, and there's not a whole lot of things in the world that actually do that to me, but it was not only just, not only the fact that he pulled it away from me, the thing that I wanted, but he did it publicly as an embarrassing thing in front of 300 people.
And you literally seconds earlier were like so excited that you got the thing you wanted
Exactly.
handed to you.
Yeah. And so I was pretty upset about the whole thing. And I literally walked out and I ended up actually calling my coach because I didn't know what to do at that point. I was like, okay, I thought this was the thing I wanted. This is the thing I needed to have in order to take my business to the next level, to do the thing I wanted. And he just yanked it out in front of me. And not only did he do that, but now I'm publicly humiliated. And I knew a
That's a
lot of
pretty
people in that room.
horrible experience.
Yeah. So here's what got me through it though, was that I called my coach and it was cool because it was actually like on a Sunday and she answered and she's like, "What's going on?" And I was literally like crying at that point because I was like, I didn't even know how to handle this kind of rejection. And she was like, "Okay, well, first off, I have been through the program. It is a good program. However, I'll tell you, I don't honestly think that that's a program you should have been in anyway." I'm like, "Why?" She's like, "Because the way they teach you to be is not your style." I was like,
Mm.
"Okay, what do you mean?" She's like, "Eli, this is what he did is a perfect example of that. You are never going to be the hyper crazy guy flailing his arms, running up on stage. That is not you. You are the laid back, chilled dude that hangs out with a hoodie and just quietly drinking his mocha and says a couple bits of wisdom that blows people's minds." And I'm like, "Okay, tell me more. I'm crying less. This is good." And she really did. And she really set things right in that situation and tell me, you need to be you. And, if you really are set on going to the program, it is a good program. I mean, I got good value out of it, but I don't know that it's right for you. However, if you really want it, that's fine. We'll just figure out another way to pay for it. I mean, that's because you have that skill. You can make money. You know what you're doing. You are excellent at what you do. The clients love you. You just make some money and buy the damn thing. But I still don't think it's the right fit for you anyway. So don't worry about it. And it was
Hmm.
the coolest feeling. And it taught me the lesson that I got from that was the fact that it gave me permission to be myself because
Yeah.
I realized you're right. That is me. That I am the person who is the chill guy. I mean, I generally I'm a natural introvert. Like people see me on stage and they see me networking with people and I'm very active in that aspect. That's all taught. That's self-taught. That's learned skills. And
Yeah.
I always tell people it's like you need to learn the basics. You need to know how to communicate effectively and how to not be terrified to walk into a room of people. But here's things you can do that'll help you make it easier to do that. And at the end of the day, you're still going to be yourself. Don't try to be the hyper person if that's not you. If that's you, great. That's
Hmm.
not me. And so that was a big thing. So that's kind of the gist of the story.
So it sounds like then you decided not to pursue that program.
Absolutely. No, I actually
Yeah.
decided dropped away from that entire group as a whole. And
Mhm.
I don't really regret it. I learned some great stuff for what I got for what I was there, but I
Yeah.
realized it wasn't the right fit for me.
Yeah.
And the fun thing about that is I've walked into rooms and had, gone up against, 10, 12 other speakers that all are really well known. And I've happened to, meet the right person, got up on stage. They were like, okay, we'll give you a try. We'll see how this works. And I've gotten up there and I can honestly say, and I'm happy to say, and I say this trying not to brag, that I walked away and people said, okay, you were the best reason for coming to this event.
That's
And
awesome.
I'm cool. I'm cool with that. As long as I
I
know I'm
love it.
making a difference, you don't have to be super hyper. You don't have to be the crazy one. Just
Mhm.
bring good, valuable information and talk to humans like they're humans. Have a good
Yeah.
conversation. That's all it takes.
Yes. I love the point that you make about doing it your way, because I've had a lot of guests on this show who that is a lesson that we tease out of their experience, but they've been all different. Like no one's actually used this specific one, which I love, the whole like speaking and
Yeah.
how this style, like you have to show up as you. A lot of other guests talk about, I had someone talk me into doing Facebook ads and that wasn't aligned for me. I had someone telling
Right.
me to do cold outreach and that didn't feel aligned, right? And so I think it's a very common struggle that business owners have when they feel like they need to do something that doesn't feel great to them. They see
Right.
other people doing it. They have someone telling them they should do it. And they're sitting here like, I don't know. I don't know if that's right for me.
Right. I think there's a big distinction though between out of alignment versus playing small. And that's where
Mm,
we have to be careful about that. And
yes.
I always work with that with my clients. I'm like, okay, here's the question. Is this out of alignment? Like, is this truly against your core values or whatever piece is there?
Yeah.
Or are you just chickening out? Because there is a difference
Yes.
between the two. And
Yes.
you have to be very aware. You have to be very mindful of the difference between the two, because I know a lot of people like we'll use networking as an example. It's like I did the book on networking. I've got a course on it, all the kinds of fun stuff. And the whole reason I put it out there was because so many people came to me and they're like, you are such a great networker. You meet all these people, blah, blah, blah. And I could never do that because I'm not an extrovert like you. And I'm like, I am not
Yeah.
an extrovert. I am very much an introvert. The difference
Hmm.
is I learned the skills, I pushed past the fear to do that, but I didn't break any of my core values and I
Hmm.
didn't do anything that was inauthentic. There's a difference between inauthenticity and doing something to break over your, comfort zone. There is a difference
Hmm.
between the two.
For sure.
So as long as you're aware of that, and really, I mean, you got to stop and talk to yourself. This is where the voices in your head can come in handy,
Yeah.
is really figure out the difference between the two, because
Yeah.
that's where a lot of people use that as an excuse when they shouldn't be.
Yes. So I actually have my own personal experience. I don't usually do this on the show, but I
Okay.
feel like it's so like I am so curious to get your take on it. So I got I got selected to speak at a conference, but
Mhm.
they decided to like pair people up. I think they wanted to give like more people an opportunity to be on stage. I had no
Yeah.
idea that this was a possibility. So
Yeah.
they paired me up with a complete stranger who was
Yeah.
also in the marketing space. And I was like, okay, how do we do this? So I won't get into all the nitty gritty details. We are very different personality wise.
Okay.
And it was super intimidating to me to have to quote unquote
Mm,
share the stage with her because she just had
right.
such a huge presence about her, from the clothes she wore to the way she spoke, the way she carried herself. And I was like, holy crap, I am out of my league here. How am I going to stand up there with her and have people listen to what I have to say? And I was
Mhm.
terrified, but I didn't back down from it.
Okay.
And I found that the energy that so this was a question I had for you, because as you were talking, I was thinking like energy level
Mhm.
versus what was the word that you used? It wasn't energy, it was something else, like
Mm.
excitement.
Okay. Could be
Maybe that
excitement.
was it.
Maybe.
So it was like I did not have the same presence that she did, but I made sure that my authentic energy
Yes.
shone through, was able to shine through what I had to say. And whereas she was a little bit more like inspirational, let's get everyone motivated. I'm
Right.
very like, hey, here are the things that you need to do as a business owner to do your marketing better. And this
Yep.
is what you need to do.
This
And
is
so
why I
I
like you,
I
because you're like me. Yeah.
exactly. Yes, we have
Yeah.
that passion for teaching. And I was like, I want people to walk away from this presentation knowing that they can take action on their own, and here are the things that they should be taking action on.
Mhm.
And so while it was like a very terrifying experience, I was approached by people who knew me and some who didn't, that told me how great of a job I did, especially given the circumstances
Right.
of the situation I was put in. And it was so gratifying. So
That's awesome.
I I shared that because I'm curious if we could like tease out this, like I kind of looked at it as I got to bring my energy here. And I
Mhm.
wasn't trying to be somebody I wasn't, but there was a level of like passion in me that was like I need to make sure this comes across.
Right. Okay. So, first off, congratulations for doing it and not backing down. I'll tell you that working with especially a complete stranger and trying to co-present is a very difficult thing.
Yes.
I actually had the same thing happen a little over a year ago, actually, to myself.
Really?
Yeah. And it was interesting because this person is a CRM person. I am a CRM person, but what I do is actually it's the follow-up process. It's the not what, it's not the CRM, it's not the technical side, it's the
The actual
psychology side.
system.
And that's really
Yes.
my specialty.
Yep.
And so I was like, first off, I have a ton of experience doing this. So I was the more experienced speaker as a whole, but I'm very conscious of, okay, how are we going to work together and not step on each other's toes?
Mhm.
And so I made a point to reach out and it's like, okay, how are we going to do this? And we agreed he would talk about how to choose a CRM and I would talk about what to do with the CRM when you have it. And it worked out really well. But the difference is like when you're working with somebody like that, you to match their energy, it is a different type of energy. And the great thing is you don't have to be the super hyper crazy one. And if that's not your personality, then don't do that. But I'll tell you what, the best speakers that I know are the ones who aren't the hyper crazy ones. They are the ones that walk on the stage, they own the stage, and a lot of times they're a lot more quiet and they're a lot more subtle, but they give
Mhm.
true value and they make complex and scary ideas simple for the people in the audience.
Mhm.
And that sounds like that's what you did. And so the other thing with that, this is the part that's even the best part is people, there's a very large percentage of people in that audience, in every audience, that the super hyper crazy ones scare the hell out of them. And so they're not attracted to that.
Yeah.
But if somebody can walk in, it's like, hey, here's, I really want you to see, see how powerful this cool thing is. Let me show you how it works.
Mhm.
And it's like that feeling of you're sitting down next to them and you're just going to show them kind of an insider secret kind of thing. It's much more mellow. It's a much more subdued from a standpoint of how intense you are. And it's much more like a friend sitting down showing a secret.
Yes.
They love that. And
Mhm.
the cool thing is there's a place for both. There are certain rooms
Yeah.
of people they're literally adrenaline junkies towards the hype.
Mhm.
And then there are people that are like, just show me how to make it work so I understand. And the
Mhm.
great thing is that when you figure out which side of the fence you're on, you're golden. And it sounds like you already did that. In fact, for me, that's the way that I work. So you and I are in that same boat from that aspect. And I
Yeah.
can say this, and I'm sure that the more you speak, you're going to keep having this. I've had people that spent $5,000 to be in a room for a 3-day weekend. And I had people that were annoyed, wanting to walk out, saying all kinds of bad things. And I happened to be the guy they just happened to vent to. And I'm like,
Mhm.
I'm speaking after lunch, hang out, just go have lunch, chill out, go have a
Give me a
drink,
chance.
whatever. Give me a chance. I promise you I'll deliver good stuff for you. And they did. And they came back to me afterwards and said, you were worth the $5,000. The rest of it was shit. And I mean, it's like, okay, cool. As long as
What a
you got
great
value.
feeling.
It was, yeah. And
That's
I've had
awesome.
that happen multiple times. And to me, that shows that I'm doing something right. And that
Mhm.
shows that I don't have to be the hyper scary, crazy one. And
Yeah.
that's the cool part about it. It's like, be yourself, have your own personality. If you're quirky, that's okay. You know,
Yes.
honestly, the best speakers are introverts. A lot of people don't realize that. But some of the best speakers out there are introverts. I mean, think of Steve Jobs was a phenomenal speaker, but the dude was a crazy introvert. I mean, he was also crazy, emphasis on crazy, but he was very hardcore, mellow, except when he got super intense about something. Like,
Yeah.
um, so if you find your personality, and if you're the crazy hyper one, that's okay. I'm not
Mhm.
discounting that either, but you have to figure out where you are and be comfortable with that. And there's a place for
Yes.
both. And
Yep.
that's the part that people have they go into these things going, okay, I have to be this. A great example in the speaking world, when Gary Vaynerchuk started getting popular, all of a sudden everybody's dropping the F-bombs because they thought that's what they needed to do to become a great speaker and to
Gary
grab
Vee does
attention.
it.
Gary
We
Vee
all
does
need
it.
to do
I've
it.
absolutely, I know Gary. And I'm just like, here's the thing is that is literally part of his DNA. The dude cannot stop cussing. He tries. Now, I've seen him at events where he's not supposed to cuss at all. And he's like, I'm sorry, guys. I'm going to apologize right now. I'm going to try my best. And if I do slip, please forgive me. And he
Yeah.
did way better than he did in other events, but it still comes out. But that's
Yeah.
part of his entire life is part of that. That's the way he's always been. Um, I'm still like, okay, know your audience and chill out a little bit, but that's me. But that I see people who that's all of a sudden that's their thing, and they're
Mhm.
doing it because they want the shock value. And the
Yeah.
kicker is the shock value isn't the important piece. It's, are you being authentic? Because I've seen people do it and it's totally out of place and they just look belligerent. Now, Gary
Mhm.
Vee does it. He doesn't look belligerent when he does it
Yeah, because it's part of his
because
brand.
it's part of his brand. It's not even part of his brand.
Right.
It's actually part of his personality.
Yeah. Yep.
And so are you doing it for shock value or are you doing it because it is part of your actual personality? Because if you're
Mhm.
doing it for shock value, it's not going to last.
Yes.
You might get it
And
once or twice, but then you're done.
the other thing too, I think about, Eli, as we're having this conversation, and it brings me back to a conversation I had inside my marketing support group with my members about someone got the advice that you should give a phone number and an email and a text line and like all these ways that prospective clients could get in touch with you. And I was like, no,
No.
if you don't want that, then
Right.
don't do that.
Absolutely.
And so it brought me back to that moment because the conversation we had was, if you do things that are out of alignment, like get on a stage and try and be somebody you're not,
Right.
you are going to be attracting people
That
who
you
you
don't want.
probably aren't going to like working with. So
Exactly.
like,
Yeah.
you're doing yourself a huge disservice
Right.
anytime you're doing something that's out of alignment in terms of your marketing, because you're not going to attract those ideal fit clients who you love to work with.
Yeah. And that's the thing too, is, you need to know your audience, but you need to know yourself, going back to that, what you just said, I'm a great example of anti-texting. I hate texting. My idea of texting is, hey, I'm running 3 minutes late. I'm on my way. Things like that.
Yeah.
I happily use it for things like that, but I'm not having a whole conversation. I don't want to read your novel via text. And in the marketing world, somebody requires me to give them my phone
I
number,
hate that.
I will immediately opt out
Yeah.
because I don't want marketing texts.
Mhm.
I'm an email guy, so I'm totally cool if you want to email me. And to be perfectly honest, I mean, I just wrote something today about this guy who, like, I signed up for his list and now he's emailing me 3 times a day. I'm like, dude, you're killing it. So, you need to know your audience, but you also need to know yourself. Anybody who knows me knows texting is the worst way to contact me. I've had people go, hey, I need your help. And I'm like, cool, put in a ticket. Like, well, aren't you going to help me? Yeah, put in a ticket because that's how I will help you.
Yeah.
Don't text me your problems. I had one person like, my email's not working. I'm sorry. That was literally my response. It's like, no, because anybody who knows me knows that. And the people who are going to get pushy about it are generally not the ideal clients. My clients understand that. They're like, don't email or don't text Eli. He's gonna say bad stuff, and you're gonna start crying. Don't do it. Which is funny because my clients know me that usually if I do make them cry, it's usually because I'm making them think about things that they know better anyway. It's not me being mean. But that's, texting is a place where I will be mean, and they know that about me.
Lesson learned. I will never text you. I promise.
Unless we're supposed to have a call and you're running a couple minutes late. Then that's cool.
Yes. No worries. I'd probably still be emailing you instead. Eli, our time has flown by today. As we get ready to wrap up here, I'm just wondering, are there any last lessons learned or pieces of advice that you want to share with listeners?
Yeah. Know your core values, what stands for you. And there's, I'm a big one for core values, and that's a buzzword in these days. And I know then in that standpoint, it kind of sucks, but it really is important. Know what's important to you. Like my core values are kindness and respect. And that always has been. And when, above and beyond anything else, if somebody breaks that, they're done. I don't want to work with them. Mm-hmm. You need to know that to keep yourself sane. But once you've done that, keeping that integrity, stay there. It's like, okay, this is me, and know your personality type. Do the tests. The tests are fun. Okay. The tests are not for you to figure out what your employees or your other people are working with you are like, so you can say, oh, well, I need to talk to them this way. No, it's about how you can figure out how to talk to yourself as well, and how you can deal with things, because most people have a hard time understanding what that is. Like as an introvert, I know how to work a room without having an anxiety attack, which I have done before. But I know how to handle it because I know how my brain's wired. When you can learn that about yourself, it's so freeing.
So many great gems there. So know your values, stay in integrity, and know everything there is to know about yourself. I love that. You gave us 3 really great pieces of advice. All right, Eli, very lastly, I want to thank you so much for coming on the show. And I want to give you the opportunity to share how people can reach out, learn more about you and the work that you do.
Awesome. Yeah. Well, thanks for having me again. I really appreciate it. This is fun. And yeah, it flew by super, super fast. The easiest way to get a hold of me is connectwithely.com, and Eli is ELY. You go with the ELI, you're going to find like some commercial real estate dude in Iowa or something like that. So connectwithely.com, Eli with a Y, and all my contact information is there. You can find me on all the social media sites. All the links are right there. I got some freebies and some cool stuff right there. All the things you need right in that same spot. If you do reach out, do me a favor. And if you connect with me on social media, please, please, please say you heard me on this show so I know where it came from, because I get like 10 friend requests on Facebook like a week easily, sometimes even on the same day. And so many of them sit there in limbo because I am close to my 5,000. But if somebody sends me a message and says, hey, I heard you on this show, I liked this thing, now you've stood out from the bazillion other people, and I will definitely accept it at that point.
Okay, awesome. Thank you so much again, Eli, for taking the time.